Trevon Diggs is next on deck for a big payday. Now, of course, he's going into his third year, and he got to play this year out. But if you look at the trends of things, man, my goodness, he's going to get it close to around maybe, just maybe, 22 to maybe 23 APY. And for CD Lamb, it should be around 24 to maybe 25 APY. That's how the money roll, baby. Let's go. We're going to give you guys some updates as well on Kelvin Joseph, the ongoing investigation. He could be facing possible prison time as well. Nothing is off the hook. Just got to let you guys know of that. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in, baby. One love. DC for life. It's not for sure. Right? Let's go. Appreciate everybody for jumping in. Like I said, the name is Law Nation, and Stephen Jones is live now on 105.3 The Fan. Let's see if I can chime in.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, guys. How you doing?
We're doing really well. We are doing very well. We appreciate you jumping on with us. And I got to know, as we get closer to the draft, only 9 days away, I don't know what you can or
9 days away. I'm pausing it right now. For those who tuning in, be sure to hit the like, share this content. Sharing is caring. The content and the information is free, so support the nation by liking, sharing, and if you like what you hear, and subscribe. And I try my best to give you guys the objective analysis. I'm not picking a side. Hey, I'm very sensitive to this subject. I want you guys to understand that, especially with anything dealing with a death of someone, and especially if you guys know what I'm going through right now, you would know that I'm very sensitive about all of this. So what I want to tell everybody is just keep that in mind. I'm not directing any hate to no one, and I'm trying to dismiss anything out here, but let's go.
Or cannot say about all of this, but do the situations involving Kelvin Joseph impact your thoughts about the defensive backfield and drafting cornerbacks going into the draft?
We are always into taking the best player on our board, as you know, and not unlike we did with CD. We took the best player there when we weren't necessarily needing a wide receiver. So, we try to have the depth, have what we need on our roster going into the draft, so that we're not affected by being able to take the best player on the board.
We got word that, and I'm hoping you confirm this, that Kelvin Joseph was part of y'all's voluntary workouts. Is that the case? And if that is the case, do y'all believe he is in the clear legally then?
The investigation's ongoing. We're waiting to get all the information, but in the meantime, he was here yesterday and participating in the off-season program.
And then the last question I'm curious about that is, can you tell us when y'all found out that there could be an issue? Were you surprised by this since it had happened a month before? When did y'all find out that there could be issues involving Kelvin Joseph?
We're not going to comment any further on any of the details at this point. The investigation's ongoing. We're obviously getting, a lot of details here, but that's all we're going to say at this point.
Man, that's the wise thing, because he don't know. He don't know where they are with the investigation, and we don't know. There have been shootouts before. There's been fights before, and people leave reckless. I'm not defending the crew of guys when I say this, but I've seen situations like this before. You get into a fight, fisticuffs happen. After the fight, they say, hey, man, I'm finna run to my car. And when I get to my car, something finna change, right? And while they run into their car or while they going through their process, it could be that while you in your car, you shooting. You shooting. You don't know whether or not you hit somebody or not. You shooting. You trying to scare off somebody. We don't know. All we know that Kelvin Joseph was in the car. Now, could those boys say, yeah, man, we got him. We got him. We shot him and we killed him, and then say hush, hush. We don't know. We got to allow all of this information to actually go through trial and everything else. And this is not me defending Kelvin Joseph. Trust me. This is a situation that's very sensitive. But at this point, the Cowboys, they sitting back and they're waiting for the authorities to make their decision. Unfortunately, is that the right thing? Do the Cowboys do the right thing all the time? No. They don't do the right things all the time. Shout out to you, Ro. Appreciate you for jumping in. They don't do the right thing all the time. They stash, they hide things. They got some skeletons in the closet we just found out 2 to 3 weeks ago. Jerry have a whole child that he's not even claiming, right? And there's other stuff that goes on that if I start opening my mouth, there'll be a knock at my door. Huh? What if I told you, like Ripley's, believe it or not? That's not the only one. You see? So we can get into details of this stuff, but sometimes this situation is deeper than what you think. I digress.
All right, Stephen, then I am kind of curious as you're looking at the personalities of players that you're drafting. You're looking at guys and you're going, okay, this is a college kid. I know what I was like in college. You know what you were like in college, and you're trying to kind of go through the mind of what they will grow into. What are those conversations like whenever you're having discussions about, okay, was this player, did he have a problem? Was he a great leader? Like, what are the discussions about personality and how important that is whenever you're bringing a guy in and drafting him?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, you go into that with every player, and you certainly give grades on their character risk, and we go in depth. I would say, at least 25% of the report is based on the guy's character, football character, personal character, on and off the field, all the things that go into the makeup of what a football player is going to be like and what you project him to be like when he gets into the NFL. But it's certainly a big part of the evaluation process when we're taking a look at how he will fit in for the Dallas Cowboys, what we project him to be like, both on and off the field, and certainly a big part of the evaluation.
So Kevin and I and Mike, whenever we're pitching ideas and topics for our show, we like to call Kevin the red team because he tries to shoot bullets in everything that we're trying to say.
What?
And so I'm just kind of curious, who's the voice in that room that's like, yeah, but is he this? Is this player this? And are y'all like, are there lots of voices, or is there one that's just like, man, I want to know more about this specifically?
No, I think it's throughout the room. I mean, it's part of. And I assume we're still on the evaluation of,
yes,
football and personal character. But, it comes out in a big way from the scouts.
Right.
And then the questions come from not only the head coaches, but the coordinators, the position coaches. And then naturally, of course, Will and Jerry and myself are all over it as well. And it's just something that you compare them to players in the past who may have had, we can go down a laundry list of players who've had character that didn't have high grades in character that went on to be very successful, and we've certainly had players that we've taken a risk on that hadn't worked out. So it is a risk reward thing, but it's certainly a huge part of it, not unlike the medical is, and then certainly you get into their physical traits, and then you just get into what type of football player they are. So there's certainly a lot that goes into the final grade. It's the full body of work.
Yeah, he's talking about the full body of work as it relates to scouting your players. Especially they tend to do that in the second round, picking a guy that's risque, whether it be off the field situations of who they affiliate themselves with, red flags, dare I say, or it could be an injury scenario. I recall Jalen Smith. We recall Sean Lee, right, with the injuries. And then we looked up the whole situation with Randy Gregory. Of course, there was a lot of situations with him off the field medically that he used a certain plant to recoup or to get life into check. And that's just how it goes. But here's the thing, Cowboy Nation. I'm going to ask you guys open and honestly. Should the Cowboys still take risk on players? Or should they say, nah, we going to do the straight and narrow scenario? Because I believe the Cowboys is like, if I take the risk, we get slammed for it. And if we don't take the risk, we get slammed for it. That was the whole purpose and the point of the Cowboys passing up on Randy Moss. They was like, nah, we are not going to take the risk because of the off-the-field situation, because of the temperaments and the mindset. So how do you balance as a Cowboys organization? Do you take the risk now? Or do you say, man, we've been burned too many times? But which burn is harder right now for the Cowboys? The burn of us passing up on Randy Moss, or the burn for not? You know, because I see a lot of people going back and forth. Because even without Randy Moss, we started to pull and scrape and reach the Joey Galloway situation. Oh, excuse me, the Roy Williams, the wide receiver. Yeah, Randy do have no rings as well, right? Judge Michael Helton says judge each one individually. Each scenario is its unique one, right? That's the difficulty part of being in their front office. And newsflash, Cowboy Nation, I'm not giving them a pass, but I'm letting you guys know. Because our fan base now, we are the quote-unquote self-righteous fan base now. I'm seeing people saying that, oh, Lord, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Oh, so now we're self-righteous, right? And now we the council cultural fan base. We the fickle fan base. We the whiny fan base. We haven't won in 27 years. Wah! You know, that's all I'm hearing. Wah, 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 wah. You know, and we the impatient fan base. We the best draft community fan base. Now we not the best draft community fan base. So it's so many things. We don't even know what side to pick. I get multiple people say, you shouldn't listen to Skip Bayless and Shay Sharp, law, blah, 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 blah. But then a third and a fourth of the people, they bring me all what they saying, you know. So it's crazy. It's flat out crazy.
Is this the most exhausting offseason that you can recall for yourself and for the Cowboys specifically?
Yeah, I think the biggest reason, I wouldn't call it exhausting. I just call it, hey, it's a challenge. It's work. It's, a lot that went into it, mainly because of the unique situation of the last 2 years with the pandemic and how it affected the salary cap in terms of not having its natural, if you will, increase each year.
Cowboy.
You weren't able to project it. You knew that the cap was not going to be naturally going up as you normally build into your contracts. So consequently, we had to really step back and be conservative, if you will, in terms of signing extensions to players. The other thing that played into that for us, obviously, was a new coaching staff with Coach McCarthy coming in. You want to make sure that the players that you have on the roster, how they're playing, how they fit the schemes, both offensively, defensively, and special teams, how they're going to fit in under the new staff. Obviously, unfortunately, we had to make a quick change on defense, so we had two different coordinators there in 2 years. So there were some challenges that aren't normally there, which kept us from, signing extensions to players we might normally would have, as well as having the challenge of having to make some tough decisions because the cap didn't necessarily project as high as we would have thought pre-pandemic. And so they're
Man, he need to hush with the cap stuff, man. You know, yeah, I thought he was doing good until he started opening up his mouth about the cap. No cap. You know, we got one more year with the purity of CeeDee Lamb and Trevon Diggs. or you can throw in, Tony Pollard. One more year, right? Because all of you guys, not all, I'm not going to call all of you guys, but a majority of you guys, it's about to happen. It's flat out about to happen. I can feel it a little bit. And some of you guys touched on it with Gallup. And the thing that saved Gallup a little bit was the fact that he got hurt, believe it or not. Right? Y'all about to turn on these boys, and it's going to be a sad day. I can see it now. Trevon Diggs is not worth what Denzel Ward is getting. No, he ain't no Jalen Ramsey. He shouldn't get 23, 24 million APY. Watch. Watch. It's going to be people saying, man, Diggs, man, he give up a lot of yards. In his organization, look, it's about to happen, especially with CeeDee Lamb. When his contract is up, because they can extend him next year, and it's going to be around $24 to maybe $25 million, and a third of you guys can be like, man, we haven't did this. No, I can think of multiple wide receivers we can have on this team outside of CeeDee Lamb. So these boys, y'all about to, I can feel it. I can just feel it. And then they're going to start talking about the cap, and they're going to say, hey, we can't pay anybody. Look, a piece of it is going about this with the what's his name, A.J. Brown for the Titans. It got so bad for Debo, they putting out racial slurs to him, saying that N-word not even worth $28 million. He's selfish, So it's about to happen. People are just slow lifers, man. They drain and they pull out and push out nothing but negative energy when it's time for those boys to get paid. And they say, oh, man, Debo, he shouldn't get paid $27, $28 million. And they taking all type of low blows as possible. So it is what it is. Watch.
Therein lied the challenges that we had to work through. So it did create one of our biggest, I think probably our biggest free agent class, especially players that we feel like were really good football players. So that was our challenge out there. We feel like we did do a good job with it in terms of re-signing, for the most part, the players that we wanted and felt like we could keep under the current salary cap environment. And I do think that we were able to fill for the most part, we're not done yet in free agency. We'll see what opportunities come up out there, but we feel like we can go into the draft pure again and pick the best players on our board.
When you say the players that you could keep, I've always been fascinated by that because I know every team has a different philosophy. What would you say to the fan base? Because as I'm sure you're aware, a lot of fans are upset about some of their favorite players going away or feeling like the talent level on this team has gone down. What would you say to people who look at the Los Angeles Rams who maybe don't pay as much attention to the long-term cap implications because they're like, we want to win now?
I think if we see the player that makes the difference in terms of whether we're going to win or lose games, then we're all in on stretching in terms of the salary cap and making something work. I think at the end of the day, when you look at our team last year, we came up short. And although we have some really good football players, from a perception standpoint, we have to make the decision, in collaboration with our coaching staff, in collaboration with our personnel staff, is that good value for your cap dollars? And what that does enable you to do, if the right situation comes to you, then you can certainly make that decision and understand completely that there's situations out there where our fans, have thoughts as to where they would be spending the cap dollars. But I like the situation that we're in. I think we made some really good decisions, and I like where we're headed.
Stephen, when it comes.
All right, appreciate everybody for making the donation. Let me go all the way back up. Somebody made a donation way up here. Want to read it out. Eastside Harold, he says KJ probably telling on teammates in practice. That's funny, yeah. And my guy over here, Jay Versick, says, would you start talking contract with CD Lamb next season or next year, knowing we signed Gallup this year? Heck yeah, you got to start talking now. Now, when the new numbers come out, it's going to be a race to the top. It's going to be a race to the top to fill it. And you're going to see some wild contracts, and a lot of people going to try to put value on players based upon their production, and you're going to hear a lot of people say this player's not worth this or this player not worth that, and I get it. It's a nasty game. It's business, nothing personal. And from a business aspect, the owners and all of the GMs, their job is to get things buy low, right? Buy low. That's their number one job. And how they can get the pricing low, maybe leak out some information. And I'm not saying that this is a crass move, but that's just how it goes. Like I said, Brown kid is going through it in Titans land, and as well as Debo is going through it in 49ers land. And both of those wide receivers are respectfully good for their particular team. And that's why they didn't show up to voluntary day, what have you. And as well as Terry McLaurin, he's going through a little bit of it because they're trying to lower the value of said player so they can get him at a better rate for what they see, what is valuable. And the whole situation with CeeDee Lamb is predicated on what he looked like this year. This got to be a season that he play injury-free, right? This got to be a season where he produced numbers, show that he can go up against the number one DB and not bat an eye. That's just the reality of it. And if he somehow give you an unbelievable year, you better be talking to his agent and saying, hey, we believe in him, we love him, and we can't let him play another day, man. We value CeeDee Lamb as a first-round draft pick out of the Cowboys organization, and here's the pie, here's some money. That's what they got to do. If not, the longer you wait, the higher the price tag is just going to go up. And that's just the market as well. The market is the market.
Comes to depth, where do you like your depth more right now? At the wide receiver position or your offensive line?
I mean, you want all the above.
Offensive line, baby.
Be known. I mean, you look at what happened last year. Certainly Tyron Smith missed games. You had the pandemic situation where Zach missed a game. I mean, the year before we had, a handful of injuries that
say the cap one more
really
time.
Put us in a tough situation. And at the same time, you look at receivers and, we had guys missing games there as well. But obviously Gallup missed quite a bit. CD missed from a concussion standpoint, and then certainly Amari did from a COVID standpoint. So, in the right situation, you want to be able to have guys step up, and you need depth in all areas, whether it's via the draft or free agency. You hope you get that accomplished.
Executive Vice President for the Cowboys, Stephen Jones, join us here on the KNC Masterpiece, your home of the Dallas Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan.
Shout out to 105.3 The Fan. Just keep in mind, for all of the ups and downs as far as the C-19 and far as the other players that miss games due to injuries or what have you, that's a part of the NFL. You're going to miss games. And, of course, when Amari Cooper decided not to get the jab or what have you, that was a decision on him for his health, right? And you shouldn't shun him or sully him for that. And I believe he would have missed one game just like everybody else who caught C-19. But by it being that the Cowboys had 3 games in 12 days, a lot of people don't let that sink into their mind. The Cowboys literally had to play 3 games in 12 days. And what people expect the Cowboys to do, and it wasn't even like no layup games, by the way. I can tell you guys a whole nother storyline about that. But what people, when they look at the schedule and they look at another team flourishing, they don't look at that aspect of the team literally playing 3 football games in 12 days. They don't look at that way. They look at it like, hey, man, it's the Cowboys. They on TV. We're going to turn it on, and we're going to watch the Cowboys, and then we're going to point fingers at how bad they played in this stretch of games. Not having the longitude and latitude to really recover. I digress. It's just what it is. People would never understand it.
And as we're looking at the draft, we're a couple weeks away here, getting really excited about it. Do you have a good feel for the price to trade up? And is there like a logical target you would like to aim for?
I just think you do have a feel in terms of the historic values that it takes to move up certain spots. And certainly, in the first round, in particular, to move up, you're going to be giving up, a really good football player. You're going to be going, 1 player for 2. So it's got to be worth it. There are certainly players that we're very interested in as you move up, but we also know that this draft is probably deeper than it's been in years because of the
C-19.
Because of the COVID years. Players were allowed. A lot of guys stayed in school and made the most of it, and have gotten themselves. They've moved from a late to undraftable player to a very much a draftable player. So, there's going to be a lot of things that we have to consider, but we're certainly always open-minded to moving up if the right player in the right situation's there.
Any particular positions y'all have got the sense that this draft is deeper than other positions?
Oh, wide receiver.
I think there's a great group of defensive linemen in this draft, as well as a great group of receivers. They seems to be pretty deep in both places, and certainly those are places that. And now us in particular, after losing Amari, and said that to add some a skill set there, to add a player there that would could help us win football games, and then at the same time, you never have enough defensive linemen, as we all know, and so those are great places for there to be a lot of depth, and there's also, I think, some unique players in this draft at both spots as well. So.
Double dip.
It's been very interesting in the, in our draft preparations, seeing who might be there and who can help us and where we think the strength is. But this time last year, we got to be honest, we didn't necessarily think we weren't thinking Micah at this point, 10 days, 2 weeks away from the draft. So you just have to really do your homework. You have to really prepare, knowing that you never know what situation you're going to be presented with, and you certainly want to have done your work up and down the board.
And Stephen, Broadus and I were talking Friday, and we were having just kind of a discussion about the offensive line, and I think one of the things that I kind of missed last year was maybe nastiness on the offensive line, and like just real gritty, nasty offensive linemen. And I'm kind of curious. We've kind of pinned guard as the spot. What are you looking for in a guard whenever you're looking for the entire package there?
That's a good question right there. I want to know if he's going to say what I really want to hear him say. Now, nastiness as a guard, that's mentality, baby. That's flat out mentality. So if they can bring in a big boy to have that nastiness to help out and to solidify the interior, that's what I want that nastiness to sound like. Let's see what he say.
Well, Zach Martin is the perfect example of another guy who wasn't on our really on our mind. If you would ask us a week before the draft started, we had 4 or 5 defensive players we really liked in the draft, and really thought we were leaning more toward defense. And those guys went off the board in fairly quick order right in front of us. And then you have a guy who's a dominant guard type like Zach. But if you find me another Zach Martin, I agree with you. I'd take that all day long. The other thing, to me that's interesting is the versatility of these offensive linemen are important too.
Message.
We all know Zach's very capable of playing tackle if we needed him to. There's not a doubt in my mind he could move in and play center if we needed him to. Now, he's one of the premier guards playing right guard. You don't want to, you really don't want to sacrifice knowing what you have there as a dominant player in the NFL and Zach Martin. But if you were to draw one up, I'd just say go look at Zach Martin.
And you were mentioning some defensive players. You can blink twice if it was Aaron Donald.
We had him right there, and of course you're talking about two of the greatest players at their positions, and Aaron Donald and Zach Martin. But yeah, you got to say if you were going to draw up a three technique in the NFL, he's got to be one of the best to ever play the position.
Now, granted, the Rams were in front of us, and that's how they were able to get Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald for this team would have been crazy good, but let's not dismiss Zach Martin. Come on, baby. Zach Martin is not playing a position where you get all of the glorified numbers and things like that as far as stats. But I think Zach Martin went, 5 years without allowing a sack. That's a long time, man. And I think his overall production from a guard position is that he never gave up more than 5 sacks in his entire career so far. So let's not sleep on Zach Martin.
I know we'll get the opportunity to talk with you again on Friday. I am curious. We were kind of joking about it earlier. There are players that fans would like to spend their money on and everything like that in terms of the salary cap. How much are you maybe on social media, or how much are you in tune with the perception of Cowboys fans when it comes to the offseason? Because as I'm sure you can probably guess, this has been a frustrating offseason for a lot of Cowboys fans, myself included.
Well, I don't think you ever win the Super Bowl in the off season. I think it's a full body of work, what you put together over time, and I certainly appreciate that. I mean, the biggest thing of all is, it's been a long time since we have won a championship, and no one appreciates that more than myself, than Jerry, than the people in this organization. That you've got to get over the hump. At the same time, we didn't last year with that same group of players, and sometimes you let a player move on, and it allows other players to step up in even a bigger role. And whether that's a C.D. Lamb or a Michael Gallup, I know, Amari was a great player for us, but this, might allow certainly C.D. and Michael to step up and play an even bigger role, and who knows what their upside may be. So,
let me tell you guys right here. That Jimmy would have said that's when you win the Super Bowl. It's during the off season. So total different ways of thinking. And that's when you turn the pressure on, the heat on. That's when those boys are working out together. That's when no one called the meeting and they are still working out together, installing a lot of stuff. And on top of that, that brotherhood is what you're trying to aim for. And that is a major thing. That is a major thing. Unity, making sure that everybody is on the same page. And that is when you win the Super Bowl. It's without all of this off-field distraction, right? And I was telling people before is many of times last year, I felt down. I felt defeated. I lost an uncle. I lost 2 cousins. And, my mom was battling through a whole bunch of other things too. And me jumping on this right here, this platform, helped me out, right? Me talking to my contemporaries helped me out. Because believe it or not, we all going through something. We all have loved ones that's lost, right? And when my mother-in-law passed away last year, it was devastating. But me talking to you guys elevated me. we supposed to be like a knot on a rope. When the opposing forces and the outside forces are pulling against you, we supposed to be able to get tighter and stronger. So even for Kelvin Joseph, and I'm not defending him, but those boys that's in that locker room should look at Kelvin and say, hey, we got you, man, from a mental aspect. Pull him off to the side and say, hey, look, I've been down there before, not in that capacity, but similar in this situation. And by me praying and talking to such and such, help me out through my day. And even if you got to come clean with everything, you're supposed to come clean with everything. It will clear your consciousness, you know? So that is what brotherhood and all of that's supposed to be about. And you gain that during the off season. So it means extra when the blitzer is coming through the A gap and you sitting there like, man, do I really want to take care of this quarterback? Or should I act like I don't see this big boy coming through the A gap? But no, I recall what happened during the off season. Let me stand into the gap. Let me keep my quarterback upright. You see, a lot of people don't see that. You see, Andy Dalton, when he was laid out like Family Guy, he didn't work out with those boys during the offseason. They didn't have that love and adulations for him. So that's why he was still on the ground. Nobody came to pick him up. That goes a long way, Cowboy Nation. It do. It do. But I digress. Let's listen to more what John Stephen Jones have to say about this.
There's a same thing with Dorrance Armstrong. I mean, we hated to lose Randy. We went down to the wire with him, but at the same time, you look at production, you look at what Dorrance Armstrong's done. He's right there from a production standpoint, with Randy. So I just feel good about where our football team is. I think we'll be a better team, and I think we can take the next step.
Appreciate your time very much, good sir. As we get closer and closer to the draft, we'll catch up with you again on Friday.
Thank you, guys. Great being on.
There.
That was a good conversation with John Stephen Jones. All right, so the offseason, the money that's down the pipeline for players, whether it be Trevon Diggs or CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard. We'll find out what will happen. My guy M&M says, what has Dorrance Armstrong done? Well, he had 5 sacks last season, and the majority of it come from pressure from elsewhere. He was freed up, and he was a free man running off the edge because of pressure elsewhere, right? So Dorrance, in his mindset, he probably looking at this thing saying, all right, there's no more Randy Gregory, but I don't want to let the Cowboys down. I just got my bag, and I want to let them know that they didn't make a mistake. So I'm going to try to multiply that 5, at least try to get 10. That should be his pretty much mindset. I'm going to try to be better than what I was last year. And Dante Fowler, he's looking at it the same way. Like, man, I always wanted to play with Coach Quinn, and I only had a cup of coffee when he was in Atlanta. Now I'm getting another opportunity to play. So that's why he blurted out, yes, we are contending, right? What he's supposed to say, yes, man, I'm on a team that we pretending. Yes, I'm on a team that we don't have a chance nor a scenario. No, he's fighting to cement his name as a legacy so that when you walk down the Cowboys way or what have you, you see Fowler's name there, right? That's what he's fighting for. Now, the odds of that happening is very slim. But I want people with that mindset. I want people to look at this thing and say, man, you know what? It's about brotherhood, of course. But, man, I want to win the Super Bowl. Now, far as a fan perspective, I told you guys I'm not finna be blurting out Super Bowl, blah, 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 blah. I just want these guys to take it one day at a time, one movement at a time, because I don't have any control of the outcome of the game. I don't. People think I do, like, Law, you're the reason why we lost. You know, I'm like, come on, man, I don't have no control of the outcome. But Fowler do. Dorrance Armstrong do. Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott, all of those boys have some type of control of the outcome of the game. The opportunity. Yes, right, Stephen. Tell people all the time it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have the opportunity and not be prepared. And when we look at this thing and we say to ourselves, what's next? How the Cowboys should play this whole Kelvin Joseph thing out. I've literally said in my video, they should have a short leash on him, right? If he's late, bring him into the office, say, hey, dog, you've been late. You've been tied to this stuff. You bringing down the brand, the shield, and the name of the Cowboys. There's the door. We can't deal with this anymore. We ain't looking to give you any leadway. Unfortunately, Cowboys don't operate that way. They don't. History shows that. They don't give nobody a one-done situation. You're like, oh, you one and done. You messed up one time. I'm quite sure that even Joseph Randle, when he stole the cologne and draws or what have you, which was very, very crazy. I'm not comparing the two. I think he still got a chance to play for this team. The same could be said about Pac-Man Jones and a whole bunch of other characters that was out here. That's just how it is. Will Jackson says sorry, but Zach's position doesn't have the same impact as Aaron Donald. Yeah, you got to put the whole name out there. They be like, who? Aaron Rodgers? You know, Aaron Donald is a beast, man. But you can't look at Donald and look at Zach Martin and say Zach is not one. But the impact of that position is not an offensive lineman in the league that's going to get glorified and pumped up like a defensive player on the front that can give you sacks, right? Like, case in point, we understand that even Connor Williams, he never allowed Aaron Donald to get a sack on the quarterback. But let's be real with it, you know? Come on. There's not nobody's going to craft up a highlight tape for that. But they're going to look at Aaron Donald and say, man, he light years and moon size ahead of Connor Williams. But it is what it is. Stephen White, you funny, baby. He said he still panics. All Cowboy fans and B More want to see the bowl. Yeah, I feel you, man. Shout out to B More. Yeah. Randall played on attitude. Yep. Zach Martin's position is important as well. Yeah, it just don't get highlighted. Right? People can spit out the names just like this. For the 90s Cowboys, they're going to talk about the triplets. Nobody talk about the front five. Nobody talk about that defense that was top 2, top 3 in the NFL. I think at one point, number 1 defense. Nobody talk about that. But the triplets. Oh, what all of the triplets have in common. They on the offensive side of the coin. Playmakers, right? The running back. Troy Aikman, the quarterback. That's just how it is. Did the Honey Badger go somewhere? I guess he might have got signed somewhere with someone. So that's the news. That's the information around the corner about the Dallas Cowboys. I thank everybody for jumping in. If you guys like what you heard today, hit the like, share this content, subscribe to this channel. They all played together. Yeah, J-Rod, you right. Let me see if anybody got any other Q&A, some questions. Yes, the triplets, baby. Yep. Hopefully we trade up in the draft and get Jordan Davis. If you're looking for an absolute beast, another monster you can have, shoot, that would be Jordan Davis. But you'll be fighting like you know what to claw back in to find a guard, too. Unless you really trust Connor McGovern to play that left guard. Yep. I feel you, Jim Law. Yeah, even ex-Cowboy players. You know, once you're a Cowboy, you forever be a Cowboy. I posted the video of Damian Wilson and I didn't even share it to the public there, but I shared it to the private community on my YouTube page, and people understand. Yeah, the negative energy, boy, it goes all around the world, right? Y'all can get Wyatt. Yeah, Wyatt is pretty good as well. Ken Norton was a monster, right? Ken Norton was a monster. First round O-line, best fit. If you go with offensive line in the first round, it can flat out happen in a good way. It can.
There you go, Stephen Jones right here on 105 Through the Fan. One of the things I was thinking of when he was answering that last question is whether people like the answers or not, he gave you insight into the line of thinking right there. Amari Cooper, we have CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. Randy Gregory, we have Dorrance Armstrong. Like, you don't have to like those answers. Nobody has to like those answers. But they're telling you, he just said, you look at the production line of Randy Gregory and then somebody like Dorrance Armstrong. They're literally telling you their thought process there.
We have 3 more opportunities to take all the words he just said, twist them, and then get back to him and ask him for more. And, yeah, or just ask him real questions that we're going to be asked.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look forward
about
to
the draft.
I look forward to both of those opportunities. We're the
Shout out to KNC Masterpiece. Got to share their link. Be sure to click on that link right there. It's already the top of the hour. I got a split like hair, but I appreciate everybody for jumping in. Be sure, Nation, to hit that subscribe button and let people know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. There will be more and more content happening throughout the day. So just reserve your spot. Hit that notification bell. Shout out to the people that's on the Facebook. Let me give a quick shout out to those. Darryl, appreciate you. Thomas Dixon, Robert, Moody, thank you for jumping in. Ryan, thank you for being part of this episode. Gaming, thank you. That's on the Facebook. Rogers, Rolex, or Rotec, appreciate you. And Lloyd and Mark Green, appreciate you. And the bottom line, appreciate you for being a member for 9 months on the YouTube page. He said 27 years equals patience. We deserve better as fans. Yes, we do deserve. We do deserve better. And that's one thing I'm not going to take away from you guys is what you declaring that you want for this team or want from this team, right? Everyone have to do a self-inventory of not just themselves, but of who they root for. And at the end of the day, it's up to you whether or not you want to continue to root for said team. There are multiple other teams out there. And that's the wave. That's what everybody's trying to do. People are trying to get you to like all teams and not just one, by especially the fantasy football stuff. And no shade at the fantasy football leagues, but I did it 1 year and I was miserable. I can't sit there and root for another team and a player on another team. That's just me. I'm old school. Yep. So that's been my time, Cowboy Nation. I really appreciate you. Let's continue to grind one day at a time, one movement at a time. Brick by brick, baby. And if you watch all the way to this point and you haven't hit that like button.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Shame on you, baby. That's what it is. Shame. Cody Show, you couldn't do it either, right? And shout out to you, Stephen White. I appreciate you. Jaquez, thank you everybody for watching. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. We up out of here. Shout out to you, Asmodeus. Jake Versick, appreciate you for the donation as well.